The Halion Chronicles. The Protectorate of Hellas stands at the edge of war. Titans stir, and ancient machines whisper in the void. Beneath the crimson grace of Thanatos, fate is cast in steel and circuitry. The Olympians walk among the mortals, spinning their schemes. Myth do not endure, they break, they burn, they fall. Only those bold enough to defy fate may earn their place among legend. Your cyber saga journey continues now. The Dead Market. The gods manifest through these relics in the swirling mist rising from the rift around the city walls. Thrish imagined he could see glimmers of Titan magic, a holographic geometry bleeding out of the shadows into his vision. Yet he could not make out anything concrete, just a faint hum of dormant circuits flickering to life, then fading into the busy sounds of travelers passing through the field of scattered remains toward the gate of Tuul. The skull gate of Tuul loomed ahead, a massive structure adorned with bones and carved obsidian. The enormous skull formed the archway, its hollow eye sockets glowing faintly with ghostly fire. As people entered and exited the town, the skeletal remains of past sacrifices dangled like grim ornaments, their empty gazes following the movement below. The taxa, a gaunt figure shrouded in tattered robes, meticulously recorded each entry with a rusted quill, while the guards, clad in dark armor etched with runes of warding, stood vigilant. Their sharp, unyielding eyes scanned the crowd, ever watchful for any signs of trouble or deceit. As the last of the caravan's apparitions slipped through the gates, Thrish let out a cautious chuckle, revealing rows of sharp teeth against his shard-torn, dirt-matted face fur. He joined the throng of restless souls descending into Tuul through the skull gate, where whispers of the dead filled the streets and the treasures of the forgotten beckoned. Thrish slipped into Tuul like a shadow, agile as a rodent weaving through the cluttered alleys. The city's dim streets writhed with flickering lamplight and restless souls. Thrish overheard bargains, exchanges of gossip from faraway lands, and murmurs of the great sacrifice to the minions of Buton. The caravan had stalled in a nearby alley leading to the Dead Market to inspect the journey's damages, their hooded figures swirling in the red afterglow of Thanatos, moving swiftly over Tuul's canopy among the towering walls. Sera-la was helping the other tribesmen as they inspected wheels and frames as well as the dead, their valuable and desiccated cargo. Thrish moved to the edge of the Dead Market, his sharp eyes scanning the vibrant square. Memories of his previous visits flooded his mind, recalling the cacophony of haggling voices and the rich range of scents. Incense mingling with the musty odor of relics, meat, and old cloth. The grand fountain of Gaia's refuge stood at the center, its ancient stonework depicting strange forms, spheres and rings that seemed to hover in the air, casting rippling reflections on the shimmering water below. The Dead Market was a sprawling labyrinth of chaos, a place where time itself seems to warp under the weight of ancient relics and their dangerous emanations. Merchants and traders cloaked in shadows peddled their wares with a fervor that bordered on madness. Thrish could see the glint of precious metal and the faint glow of relics imbued with lost magic. Some buyers even seemed entranced by vision at those stalls. The merchants operated under the watchful eyes of the temple's Titan Guard, a corrupt institution enforcing the ban on relic trade, yet easily bribed to turn a blind eye. The air buzzed with the energy of countless transactions, each one carrying the weight of untold histories. Thrish's nostril flared as he caught the scent of rare spices, mingling with the tang of sweat and desperation. His sharp eyes darted from stall to stall, noting the array of items on display. Rusted weapons, tattered scrolls, and relics that whispered of forgotten gods. His ears pricked at the snippets of conversations around him. Merchants haggling over prices and buyers whispering secrets as they exchanged pots for goods. He remembered the stories he had heard, tales of powerful relics changing hands in the swirling chaos of the market, artifacts that could bend time, summon spirits, or unleash destructive forces upon the world. These forbidden items were traded in hushed tones, hidden beneath layers of secrecy and guarded with lives. His keen eyes spotted a hooded figure at the edge of the market, their hands cradling a small, ornate box that seemed to pulse with a faint, eerie light. Those caught in such trades by unbribed authorities face dire consequences. The temple habitually casts those unfortunate ones into the abyss, alive, where their smashed bodies became nurturing mush for the ever-hungry Plutons. Thrish's fur bristled as he approached, his instincts on high alert. He had been in this situation before, deals made in the shadows, where a single misstep could lead to disaster. The hooded figure glanced up, their eyes gleaming with a mixture of fear and greed.
"Looking for something special?"
he hissed, his voice barely audible over the din of the market.
"Or is my fellow Kaiman interested merely in a piece of cheese?"
the merchant added with a suppressed giggle of madness. Thrish regarded him silently, then nodded, his gaze never leaving the box. "Show me your best cheese, then," he replied, his voice steady despite the alertness thrumming through his body. With a furtive glance around, the figure opened a box, revealing a relic that seemed to shimmer with its own inner light. Symbols etched into its surface glowed faintly, and Thrish could feel the power emanating from it. A relic of the Titans, forbidden and deadly. He had heard of relics that could command the elements or grant visions of the future. The price of such power was steep, but Thrish was no stranger to risk.
"It can summon 1,000 ghosts, carrying the wisdom of the gods and their masters,"
the trader boasted, raising his goods for inspection, giggling with piercing eyes. As Thrish reached out to examine the relic, a sudden commotion erupted nearby. A group of Mistios, mercenaries from mainland Hellas, had entered the market, their presence sending ripples of unease through the crowd. Merchants covered their wares, buyers shifting into bystander poses. The leader of these Mistios, a grizzled warrior with a scarred face, barked orders as his men spread out, searching for something or someone. Thrish tensed even more, his hand hovering protectively over his satchel as he weighted his options. The Mistios were not to be trifled with, and their appearance in the dead market could mean trouble. He glanced back at the hooded figure, who was already beginning to close the box. With a sleight of hand, the trader made the box vanish and pulled out a piece of hornbull cheese, offering it to Thrish.
Fine cheese for my weary customer? Only one part.
The Mistios, passing slowly behind Thrish, scrutinized each person in the crowd. It sent shivers up his spine. He knew their ruthlessness, and their mercy was a matter of who paid them more. "Sure," Thrish muttered, fumbling a small pot out of his satchel. Thrish inspected the tiny square implement, confirming that it had only one metal leg. He felt the cold gleam of the bronze armor of one of the Mistios passing behind him as he handed the pot to the trader. He scented an abhorrent trace, a mixture of wine, blood, and vomit. Thrish tucked the cheese into his satchel and turned away from the merchant, following the group of Mistios from a safe distance. If they were so far from the mainland, they must be paid by some rich man. What were they doing here? Thrish's curiosity swayed his sense of danger. Passing the water basin of Gaia's fountain, he quenched his thirst. The Mistios were dragging a haggling, seriously drunk companion away from a stall towards the edge of the square. Thrish's fine-tuned ears caught many laughs and insults exchanged by the Mistios amidst the bustling market chaos. They just seemed to be bringing a lost sheep back to the flock. "A dire wolf, rather," Thrish muttered into his whiskers. The murmur of the haggling townsfolk swelled again as the Mistios disappeared into one of the alley at the market's edge. Above, the red glow of Thanatos hovered behind the clouds, casting an eerie light over Tuul's twilight streets. Thank you for listening to the Halion Chronicles. You journeyed until the end and likely enjoyed your travels through this episode. Let us know with a like and share it with fellow travelers of Halion. Never miss an episode, subscribe and turn on the notification to stay ahead of the unfolding saga. For free additional content, lore deep dives and more stories from Halion, visit our Substack at halionchronicles.substack.com.